Hi guys, welcome to Snake Nook. I'm Vanny, and in today's video, I'd like to discuss how setting up routines for your snakes can help minimize situations when it comes to handling them. Quick disclaimer before I dive into this topic, the information that I'm sharing with you guys in this video is purely anecdotal, purely my personal interactions with my own snakes. My dad used to have a saying about keeping animals. He used to say, you can take the animal out of the wild, but you can't take the wild out of the animal. And guys, as you proceed with your own snake keeping practices and routines, please do your own research. As I continue to learn more about snake keeping, I have come across some information where people may say something like, you need to use a hook to tap the snake to let them know that you're there, or perhaps you need a target in order to indicate to the animal that they are about to be fed. For me and my snakes, keeping a routine has been working out really well. Let's take a look at Typhoon. I just unlatched his enclosure. I'm coming in here, look at his face, look at his eyes, look at his tongue. He's using all of his senses to determine if there is a food item. Take a look at his body language as well. So you see, I reached in there with my hand, and although at this very same time tomorrow night he is going to eat, he did not strike at me. He didn't try to bite me. So keep a close eye on his body language. He continues to really assess the situation. His tongue is flicking. He's really sending that tongue out there to gather all those particles in the air to see if there is the scent of food. And his body language continues to change. He has just gone from feeding mode to thinking mode to, okay, what's going to happen here? He's trying to determine if I'm going to take him out of his enclosure, and you'll see him disengage, like he is no longer looking for that food item. Although his tongue is still flicking out there, I think by now he has realized that he's not getting fed. So look how calm he is at this point. And so that's what I'm talking about when I say routine. The routine here would be that it's evening time and he's going to get an outing. That is the routine. Also, the other routine is that they get fed weekly, once a week. 1 day a week is when they're going to pick up the scent of food in the air. And because most snakes are crepuscular or nocturnal, you do have to make some evening time for them so that you can interact with them. So when that enclosure goes open, they're not just automatically on food mode. They're going to have to think about it. What is going to happen because my enclosure just opened? So doing the 2-in-1, guys, like when you feed your snake in a separate container while the snake is eating, you do the enclosure maintenance because it saves you time. So what that's actually doing is minimizing the times that you are interacting with your snake. I've always fed my snakes in their enclosures, and I like to use every opportunity that the enclosure comes open so that my snake knows it's not always food. Just my own thoughts on that. So this is a result of having a routine of handling and interacting with your snake during the evening. Let's take a look at another snake. This is a royal python. This is Whirly. So I'm holding Typhoon with my left hand, and at the same time I'm holding the phone with my left hand to record this. So I'm just trying to take her out with one hand, but she does weigh about 1,600 grams, so I don't think it's going to happen. I'm going to have to figure this one out. And so basically I'm taking her out at the same time that she would be eating tomorrow. And so here she is. I have taken both Typhoon and Whirly back to the room, and I'm going to spend some time with them. It is evening time. This time tomorrow, they will be eating or will have already eaten. And so again, Whirly is not trying to bite me. She didn't bite me. She did not, when I opened up her enclosure, she did not come right at me trying to find that food item. And the reason for that, guys, is because I take them out in the evening. All of my snakes get regular outings, and usually it's in the evening because I work a normal job. I come home around 4 something in the afternoon, and by the time I can get to them and spend time with them, it is usually after 5 o'clock or after 6 o'clock. And I have several snakes. So in order for me to see a few of them every night, I spend time with them in the evening. So once again, because they're used to coming out, that's a routine for them. That's a routine for them in the evening. And so it's not always feeding time when their enclosure pops open. Now here I'm going to show you, this is now Sunday, November the 20th. It is about 2 hours before feeding time. You can see by the light in the window, it's still daytime. And I'm going to take Tsunami out. In 2 hours, Tsunami can expect to eat. In 2 hours. Tsunami is one of my most fierce eaters. When it comes to feeding time, yeah, I need to make sure that he can't reach me because he is most vicious. So when I click open his enclosure, it can be other things, not just food coming his way. And even though tonight will be feeding night, and actually in about 2 hours he's going to eat, but look at him. He is not ready to come striking for his prey item. He doesn't smell one. I haven't thawed any mice or rats. So there is no smell of dinner in the air. So he's relatively calm. He's doing fine. He wasn't expecting a meal, at least not yet. So I'm going to go ahead and take him out for a little while. Now, I typically don't take my snakes out so close to feeding time, although occasionally, there you have it, 5:05 in the afternoon. Although occasionally I may have to in order to do enclosure cleaning, because sometimes they will soil their enclosure on feeding day. Sometimes it happens sooner in the week. But anyways, the enclosure can pop open, and it's because I need to clean it up, not because there is food. So Tsunami would know that it was feeding time because he's going to smell the rodents in the air. All of my snakes eat on the same night. So it's the one night a week that they can pick up those scent particles of the rats and mice thawing. And so he knows it's not time to eat dinner yet. So here he is, just relaxing with me for a little while, not keeping him out too long. He's going to go back in. Okay, so now the time has come. It is now feeding time at night. It's about 7:30, I think it is. And so Typhoon is going to get his meal, but he happens to be inside his little warm hidey now. So let's just reach in there with his food items so that he can come out and eat. But you can see his tongue working. And so he's gathering that information. Oh yeah, the humans popped open my enclosure today. So what's happening? So he knows at this point that he's being fed. He can see the prey item. He can smell it. So he knows that he's going to eat. Now, he's not like a vicious striker. He tends to be more on the cautious side. You'll see him right now. But yeah, here he is. He knows, okay, my enclosure popped open and I'm getting fed. And so what I do is feed all of my snakes on the same night. They all have the same feeding schedule. And so that is why these routines work for me. Here he comes. He's not the most vicious eater. It's all yours. It's all yours, Typhoon. Let's look at the time on the clock. It's almost 7:20 p.m. And so now we're going to feed Tsunami. Oh my goodness, Tsunami for sure is my most vicious eater. Earlier in the afternoon, you saw him sitting behind the hide, and now he is in the hide, and the enclosure popped open again. You notice he's not coming out all crazy trying to take the prey until he realizes that we do have a prey item for him because he picked up the scent of the rat. Now look at the way he strikes at his meal. Okay, did you see that? There's no way that I would put my hand in his enclosure if I thought that he was going to come and bite me that way. But it's because I have those routines in place where the enclosure pops open and it's not always food. And so my snakes have to rely on their sense of smell to determine that they are having a meal. Now, going back to Saturday, November the 19th, yesterday, so I'm going to show you, this is another Royal Python. This is Autumn. So here's another example of the night before and what time it is. That it's 8:41 in the evening. And look, the snake is not looking for food. The snake is not striking, thinking that there is a meal coming. So something else that happens in the evening with our snakes, we may just take them out briefly and check their enclosure. So again, the enclosure popped open. The humans are here, but it's not always because of food. So considering the way that I have been keeping my snakes, I've been conditioning them to know that whenever their enclosure pops open, it's not always food. So it has worked for me. I have not needed a hook to let them know that I'm there. I do not need a target to let them know they're eating. And there is no fear reaching into their enclosures in an evening, any day of the week when it's not feeding time. One more look at one more snake. So once again, guys, this is evening time. This is Sandstorm that we're going to pick up tonight. And she wasn't always my most confident, most friendly boa. She actually was rather defensive when we got her. It did take some work to kind of tame her down, to socialize her, but here we are some months later, and we can reach into her enclosure the night before she would be eating, and we're not worried that she's going to bite us. There is no scent of thawing rodents in the air. So just remember, guys, you can take the animal out of the wild, but you can't take the wild out of the animal. And whatever practices you decide work best for you when handling your snake, be it hook training, target training, or just having routines in place like this, please always do your own research, talk to people, watch more videos. Y'all have a good one. Bye.